Hello. Right, so, sorry about the crinkled top because dyspraxics are not really known for their ironing skills. Right, so I want to talk about I get rejected very often and how it feels. And I just wrote it down for myself, for my reference, because that's probably back to front for you. But you see what I mean. I want to stay on track, and that's quite tricky for me. So I'm just going to probably glance at it sometimes to remember what point I'm trying to make. And it's a really upsetting subject. I think I'll just try and give an example from my past. So when I couldn't speak, when I was about 19 years old, I got scouted by a modelling agency in Manchester. I got sort of asked to go on this trip where about 6 of us went on a minibus to this beautiful place in Wales. And they were doing like videos of us like walking along the beach together or like climbing up a hill together. Like pictures of a group of friends enjoying the outdoors. So we had to stay over somewhere for, I think it was a night. So in the minibus on the way there, people were sort of doing this thing that non-dyspraxics or non-autistics do, where they kind of like, I don't know, banter, or they like talk to each other. And it's like a way of building rapport, like who's got what to say and like what does that mean about who they are as a person or something. There's like this kind of value attached to like, he just said that thing and it made all of us laugh, so now he's accepted and he's part of our group. So that happened to one of the people in our group of models. And there was someone else who I just remember, this girl was like very sort of like quiet, but she sort of seemed to be very assertive about being quiet. So she was saying something like, oh, I never tell people in school that I'm a model. And then she said to me, oh, somebody saw my photo in the window of the JD shop and said, is that you? Are you a model? And I was like, no. So she kind of had her own voice and her own style of speaking. And then there was this like sort of very, seemingly self-confident girl who was in the group. I think there was probably 3 of us girls and 3 boys, something like that. And the confident-seeming girl was like really scary to me. Because she was kind of, I don't know, because I can only explain like through the filter I had at the time, but she seemed like one of these kind of people that you have to impress, and then you might get accepted or not, socially accepted. And I can't play that game. I can't play games, social things. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm never going to understand. And even if you tell me how it's supposed to work, I can't do it anyway. So that's that. So in the bus at some point, I don't know when it happened, because I probably blocked it out because it was traumatic, but somebody must have asked me something and then I couldn't answer. Or somebody tried to include me in the conversation and I couldn't answer. Or maybe just the fact that I was quiet for so long, because at the beginning you can get away with not speaking because you can just look like you're listening. So for ages, I could just nod along and smile at the right moment and like seem like I was interacting, but not actually have to say anything, but people didn't realise I couldn't talk. And then at a certain point, it kind of used to start to build up inside me. Well, this still happens in group situations, or like if I'm not comfortable or don't feel safe emotionally. So it's like it builds up inside me like, oh, like I'm going to have to say something soon. No, it's going to become obvious soon that I haven't said anything, but I can't say anything. It's like pressure. I start putting pressure on myself because I feel like I know what I'm supposed to do, which is like talk. And I can't. So then, at some point it must have been obvious that I couldn't do the cool thing and like say stuff. And then they all just started ignoring me. I don't know if they said anything to each other about it, but like, I don't know if there was like a point when someone asked me something and I didn't answer, or I said the wrong thing in the wrong way or the wrong tone of voice, because that's another problem that we have as a dyspraxic. We say the thing and it's a literal answer, but we might have said it wrong, but we don't know that, or we might have said it too loudly. Anything could have gone wrong, but we don't know what it is, and nobody's going to tell us because they just think we're weird. Which we are, but that's not a crime. So then I had done some kind of non-speaking problem, which they all decided to like reject me from that point on. And that was on the way there. So by the time we got there, nobody was speaking to me, and it was really sad. And I think I probably cried in the bus after that, because I kind of realised that everyone was ignoring me and they were like all talking to each other, but I was left out. And then it became more problematic, because when we got to the place, it was kind of, you know, like a B&B, not a hotel, but like something a bit more informal, and we were allowed to stay there for the night. So it would have been really cool, except that it was absolutely terrible, because as a dyspraxic, I don't know what I'm supposed to do when, and where I'm supposed to go and how to get there and things like that. I have to follow somebody. But because everybody had sort of rejected me from that group, nobody was going to be like, hey, we're going to go down now, come on, it's 8 o'clock or something. So it was really scary. It's actually just really scary, because it kind of just feels like you could just get lost in the world. Like you just, because I wasn't on my own, because I was with this group of people. I was supposed to be with them, but I wasn't. I was like out on a limb because of this social faux pas, whatever I'd done by not being able to join in the conversation earlier. So I remember like sort of finding my room or something, and just kind of like fumbling with the key, because as a dyspraxic as well, we sort of like, it's kind of like I have to feel my way around everywhere. Like I can't just kind of like go along, open a door, go in. It's almost like I'm like, if you imagine that I'm blind, which I'm definitely not, but I have to kind of like have my hands in front of me, like as if I was like suddenly blind, and I just have to like feel my way around everything like that, so that I don't kind of like crash. So I was doing this, finding my room, trying to go into my room, and then trying to sort of not panic, but definitely panicking silently. No thought process, because I don't have this monologue in my head, but just basically like the feeling of like I'm totally alone in the world, and I'm not part of, like, I don't know, it's kind of like a feeling of abandonment. And I don't have abandonment wound, by the way, in case you're wondering about whether it's something like that. It's more just kind of that feeling of like not being able to say things, not being able to understand things, not being able to understand what I'm supposed to be doing and where I'm supposed to be and when and things like that. And how does everyone else know? Because this still happens to this day, that everyone else knows things, but I don't. So they know like where we're supposed to be at a certain time and what time it is now, and then how long it's going to take to get there, or like what we're meant to have done by that time and what we're meant to have brought with us or stuff. Like we don't get that context. Well, I don't get that with my dyspraxia. I'm just like, I know nothing. So yeah, that's that. And then I don't want to make the video too long, but I don't know if I could just give a recent example. So basically this happens every time I meet anyone. So it's a good job, even to this day, it's a good job that there's a lot of dyspraxics about, because when I meet other dyspraxics, autistics, ADHD, dyslexia, there's some other obvious and important ones, so I'm sorry if I missed you out of that list. I'll try and do better. I don't have these problems as often, but whenever I have try to have an interaction with somebody tries to talk to me in the street, I do it wrong. I can't answer, I don't know what to say, I didn't understand what they just said to me, because I live in a place where people would talk to you when you're out and about, which I love, because I need that and I want that connection with people. But I can't reciprocate, so it's really sad. But I still appreciate them for doing it, so thank you, everybody.